The Osean Conclave settles territorial claims by ritual single-ship duel. And today, humanity stands accused.
Let the claimant enter. The champion of the Osean Conclave shall face the accused species.
The champion arrives, a sleek, ornate alien vessel, every curve a declaration of power. Humanity's answer slips through the gate. Not a warship, but a scarred, ancient relic held together by patches and memory. The spectator fleets flicker with ridicule. The old human ship looks more like salvage than a contestant.
They insult us. That pile of scrap won't last a single volley.
Admiral, the entire arena is laughing. Are we really doing this?
Let them laugh. The relic has faced worse odds than a polished champion.
The champion's batteries light up, and a volley of energy beams streaks toward the relic, a death sentence by all known science. But the first beam never lands right. It skips off the old hull at an angle that should be impossible. The champion pours a second volley into the void. Brighter, tighter, a net of killing light meant to overwhelm.
What? How is it doing that? No active countermeasures, no shield spikes. The beams just don't connect.
She's not dodging, Commander. She's remembering where the beams will be before they're fired.
The champion switches to a missile spread, and ancient kinetic turrets on the relic swivel, with a precision that belongs to another century.
Impossible. That wreck has no functioning targeting grid. It should be debris by now.
Around the arena, the mocking flickers die. Spectator vessels shift to steady, puzzled pulses, the first tremor of doubt.
This isn't luck. This ship has fought these same patterns before. But how?
Every battle humanity ever survived, Commander, she carries in her bones. Let the champion tire himself out.
A beam finally glances the relic's flank. Sparks fly, but the scarred alloy holds, the wound superficial. The champion's barrage guttered. The relic drifted, untouched in every way that mattered. The arena held its breath. Kale, humiliated, ordered his helmsman to close to zero, point blank, where no deflection could save the old hull.
Burn them from the void. At this range, their hull will peel like paint.
Torpedoes tore from the champion's launchers, and the relic's aged point defense cannons answered. The turrets shattered, every warhead with a predictive rhythm, as if the ship knew the attack before it launched.
She engaged that spread before guidance could lock. This isn't a ship, it's an oracle.
She's seen it all, Commander. Every war, every dirty trick. The champion fights a century of bad days. The relic doesn't have good days.
The spectators' lights shifted. From stillness to a slow, synchronized pulse, a murmur of something like respect.
This can't be. I am the finest duelist. That heap of scrap should be dust.
The champion's capacitors drained. The relic drifted on, its weapons silent. It hadn't fired a single offensive shot.
It's not fighting back, it's just surviving. And that's somehow worse.
Kale deployed decoys, jammed frequencies, and split his attack into 3 false ruses, a fleet commander's gambit against a single ship.
Now, you antique. Try to predict chaos.
But the relic didn't predict chaos. It sidestepped it, sliding through the net like weather through a broken fence.
Every feint, every ghost signature. She ignored the decoys and hit the real warhead. How?
Because she has a library, Commander, and the champion just wrote in it.
Ilara pulled a fragment of the ship's database, engagement records from the Kepler Belt, the Proxima Campaign, the Third Border War. The same 3-pronged attack, defeated each time.
You knew. You knew this ship would face that exact maneuver, and you said nothing.
I counted on it. The relic doesn't need new tricks. Old ones work fine.
On the champion's bridge, Kale watched his tactical display dissolve into static. His masterstroke had been turned into a footnote.
This is not a ship. This is a ghost of wars I was never taught.
Kale ordered every weapon loosed, a final, desperate salvo that would have crippled a battlecruiser.
Burn! You ancient horror! Burn!
The relic took the hits on its layered scars. And then a small bay door opened, revealing a compact probe. The probe slipped past the champion's point defenses and attached to its hull with a soft magnetic click. A blue pulse rippled across the champion's hull, and every weapon, every targeting system died.
No, this can't be. It had no super weapon. Nothing.
The arena fell utterly silent. Thousands of spectator ships sat frozen, their lights stilled.
Arbiter, the champion is neutralized. We will not fire a killing blow.
The ritual demands a kill. You are breaking the rules. For what?
The champion drifted, a surrendered foe in a duel that had never truly been a fight. The relic had won without raising a single offensive weapon.
Humanity, you violate the ritual. The duel demands a kill. Yet, you spare your foe. Explain this insult.
We did not come to kill, Arbiter. We came to show that survival is the only victory that matters.
A scrap vessel that refuses to die? You expect us to believe this is your champion's message?
She carries no superweapon. Only the defensive instinct of every war humanity has survived. That is our testament.
Defensive instinct. Every war. The ship is a museum of the dead, and it still fights.
The relic pulled back, giving the champion space. A clear offer to stand down, not die.
You are not just winning. You are rewriting what winning means.
Any species can build a weapon. Only survivors earn a library.
On the Arbiter's podium, 100 silent communiques lit up, the conclave tearing itself apart over what it had witnessed.
We sent our oldest ship to say what we are. A species that has been surviving longer than you have been making rules.
Inside the conclave, a furious debate erupted. Some called it a violation of sacred ritual. Others whispered it was the purest victory they had ever seen. Kale, humbled, brought his ship's auxiliary systems online and opened a private channel to the relic, a frequency no one else could intercept.
Human, why didn't you finish me? You had every right.
Because killing you would have proven only that we can kill. Survival is the only victory that endures beyond the battle.
Your ship, it has no super weapon, does it? No hidden arsenal.
Number. Just 100 years of being too stubborn to die.
Kale bowed his head, the first conclave champion in history to yield without a death. The gesture was private, but its meaning leaked across the comms. The champion accepted his defeat. On the relic, Joseph watched the silent arena. The conclave's verdict was still hanging.
They haven't decided yet. This could still go wrong.
Then Joseph opened a channel to every vessel. He began to transmit the relic's complete service record. Every battle, every death, every rebuild.
Judge us on the full record, then tell us we are wrong.
Data streams flooded the arena. Archival footage, tactical logs, a century of war compressed into a single transmission. The aliens watched the relic torn apart and rebuilt, again and again. Each scar was a lesson in staying alive. On the conclave leader's tablets, the arrogance drained. This was not a museum. It was a monument to survival. The Arbiter's expression shifted from outrage to something the conclave hadn't seen in centuries. Awe.
Admiral, they're actually reading it. They're starting to understand.
Good. Let them see what it costs to survive.
The arena fell into a different silence. Not shock, but the heavy quiet of processing a paradigm shift. The historical log continued to scroll across every screen, and the conclave leaders leaned in, reading the story of a species that refused to die. The Arbiter raised one hand, and the conclave fell into a sudden, weighty hush. The moment had turned.
The humans have not broken the ritual. They have revealed its deeper meaning. Victory is survival, not destruction. They have won by enduring.
A holographic star chart bloomed in the arena's center, the contested system pulsing into human colors, a formal seating.
The claim is theirs. Let the record show it.
I was beaten, not by firepower, but by wisdom. I yield, and I am honored to have faced you.
Admiral Joseph answered with a slow, deliberate nod, accepting the concession without a word of triumph.
He actually yielded. The conclave just handed us the system without a drop of blood.
No, Commander. Not until today.
Through the spectator fleet, a strange new light pattern rippled. Not mockery, but the first pulse of genuine respect. One by one, the alien vessels began to dim their running lights, an ancient gesture of honor for a duel well fought. The silence deepened, not the silence of shock, but something heavier, more profound.
They understand now.
Not fear. Respect. They're honoring a duel where no one died.
The relic's engines thrummed, a tired, ancient sound, and the ship began to slide toward the exit gate. One spectator ship, then another, then 100. Their lights extinguished completely, leaving only dark silhouettes against the stars. The arena ring became a silent, sacred circle of shadow, witnessing the old warship's departure. A small companion vessel detached from the spectator fleet and fell in behind the relic, an honor escort at respectful distance.
One more century.
The relic's nameplate caught a last shaft of arena light before the gate swallowed them into open space. The arena fell silent, not because they feared humanity, but because they finally understood what it meant to survive. From the relic's viewport, the arena shrank into a delicate ring of darkness, the last spectator silhouettes fading into the starfield.
They didn't cheer. They just stopped.
Because they understood. That's louder than cheering.
The champion ship was already under tow by a conclave recovery vessel, its weapons dark, its pride carefully preserved. On its empty bridge, Kale Ossian had left his helmet on the captain's chair, an ancient conclave gesture of surrender with honor. A new gash bled coolant into the void along the relic's flank, but the old alloy held she carried the century of lessons and earned another.
We survived. That's what matters.
That's what we came to prove.
Behind them, the arena stood empty, a silent amphitheater, where 1,000 ships had learned a new definition of victory. The relic limped onward, undefeated for one more century. The relic settled into cruise, the hum of its ancient reactor a lullaby for the tired crew.
I found this in the archive, a commendation medal from the Proxima campaign. It belonged to a crewman who never made it home.
Corporal Thorne. He held a bulkhead seal with his bare hands for 40 minutes.
The metal was tarnished, but the memory it held was sharper than any weapon.
All these years, and you still remember every name?
She remembers, Commander. The ship remembers even when we don't.
The bridge lights dimmed, as if the old ship was listening to the quiet ceremony.
She carries more than lessons. She carries us. Every soul who served is still here.
Then we were never just delivering a message. We were honoring them.
The relic pressed on, its patched hull bearing the weight of a century of ghosts. Undefeated, the relic moved through open space, its patched hull catching the distant starlight. Behind it, the honor escort held formation, a single alien vessel. Lights dim, a silent salute. The relic's warp drive spooled up, a low amber glow building along its ancient ring. The escort ship slowed, its captain watching the old warship prepare to leap. Then the relic folded into a spear of light and vanished into a distant nebula. The alien ship turned back, its mission of respect complete. Somewhere behind, the arena sat empty, a dark ring of silent witness. No cheers, no fury, only the heavy quiet of an empire that had been taught something new. The relic was gone, but its message remained. Survival is the truest weapon, and the universe was a little wiser for it. Months later, the disputed system thrived. A human outpost stood on the third moon, its lights blinking in the dark. Inside a colony dome, a small child pressed its face to the viewport, not human, but watching the stars with human-born wonder. A shadow fell across the moon's surface, the relic on patrol, its scarred underbelly passing low overhead. The child pointed. "That one," it said, in a language not human, "that one is still here." The old warship did not pause. It continued its eternal patrol, its name worn into the hull by a century of service. Some warships are never decommissioned. They become legends. The relic was one. Across the stars, the Ocean Conclave added a new clause to its ritual. Surrender without death is victory, too. The arena remained silent, a monument to the day. Humanity taught them a new kind of strength, and the relic sailed on, its patched hull a testament that survival, not slaughter, is the only victory that endures. Undefeated, the relic's hull, freshly patched by repair drones, still bore every scar, not as damage, but as data.
We don't fight to destroy. We fight to remain.
Those words had echoed on a bridge that smelled of ozone and old solder, and they never left the ship's memory. The patched hull sealed its new wound. The scar, a fresh page in a century-old book. The relic sailed into the nebula, its amber running lights dimmer now, but steady. It did not need to be fast or sleek. It only needed to be there. One more day, one more century. The universe had learned that survival is the whole point, and the child who had pointed at the passing ship still looked up. And in the dark, the ship was still there, still moving, undefeated. In the months that followed, the Osean Conclave gathered to amend the ancient ritual code.
Let it be recorded. Surrender without death is also victory. The humans have shown us that endurance outlasts the kill.
The clause was etched into their laws, a permanent reminder of the day an old warship taught them survival. The arena, once a stage for slaughter, became a monument to something quieter. Across the stars, the story spread, and the relic's name was spoken with a new kind of awe. The champion Kale, now retired, would tell his students, "I was beaten not by firepower, but by wisdom."
The truest victory is to remain standing when the battle is over. That is what we learned from the humans.
The universe had shifted, and a dented, patched ship was the pivot, and the child who had pointed at the passing ship still looked up. And in the dark, the ship was still there, still moving, undefeated. The Human Archives updated its entry for HWS, Relic. Oldest active warship, undefeated. Admiral Joseph Weston, retired, stood in the quiet dockside, looking up one last time. He placed his palm against the scarred metal, feeling the rough reminders of every battle.
One more century.
The relic's running lights flickered once, a slow amber pulse, as if the ship itself replied. Her bridge would remain empty for now. But the old ship was never truly alone. The archive entry closed, the words undefeated standing as both record and prophecy. The relic turned toward the nebula, its engines a tired but steady thrum. She carried more than metal. She carried a century of stubborn, quiet survival. And somewhere in the dark, the old ship's lights pulsed once more, a silent promise kept. Centuries passed. The relic became a legend, told to children across the stars. A young alien, looking up at the night sky, asked the question every generation asked. "Will it ever be destroyed?" the child whispered. The answer came from an elder who had never even seen the ship, but knew the story. "It can't be destroyed. It's the idea that we survive." The child looked up and saw an old, patched ship passing silently overhead. The relic's amber lights flickered once, as if winking at the new generation. It was no longer just a warship. It was a promise made physical, undefeated, unyielding, eternal. The children grew up knowing that some things survive because they refuse to stop. The relic sailed on, a speck in the vastness, forever. So the story ends where it began. In the great arena, beneath the cold blue floodlights, they demanded a champion, and humanity answered with something no one expected. Not the newest vessel, not the deadliest, but the oldest. A ship called the Relic. And when the duel was over, the champion drifted silent, and the Relic had never fired to kill. The arena fell silent, a silence that spoke louder than any war cry. It was the silence of understanding, of a lesson learned across 1,000 species, that survival, not slaughter, is the truest form of victory. The claim was ceded. The Relic limped home, undefeated for one more century, and somewhere in the dark, the old ship still sails, a promise made of scars and memory. They demanded a champion. Earth sent its oldest warship, and the arena fell silent. Space stretched on, dark and eternal, and in its depths, a single speck of light. The arena had long since drifted apart, its silent witness scattered to the stars. But the story remained a legend, passed from empire to empire, of a species that sent its oldest ship, not to kill, but to endure, and of a champion who learned that defeat without death was a greater honor. The universe turned, and the Relic turned with it, a constant in the chaos. No one knew how long it would sail, perhaps forever. The silence that fell in the arena that day never truly ended, became a part of the void itself, a lesson woven into the fabric of space. And in the dark, the old ship sailed on, Undefeated, the void held the silence like a secret. No one recorded the exact moment the relic passed beyond known space. The ship had become less a vessel and more a direction, a heading toward the idea of survival itself. Empires that had witnessed the duel adopted its lesson. The truest victory is to remain. Children on 100 worlds learned the name of the old ship before they learned the names of wars. The relic's light, faint but steady, became a fixed point in the cosmic drift. No fleet pursued it. No weapon targeted it. It had outlived the need for enemies. The arena's silence had become the silence of the galaxy, and the old ship sailed on, undefeated and undying, carrying the memory of a century that refused to end. In the dark, the promise was kept. The nebula swallowed the relic's light entirely, and for a moment the ship was indistinguishable from the stars. Its engine trail dissolved into the void, a final signature written in the dark. In the silence that followed, the legend did not end. It simply became part of the stars themselves. For those who looked up, a faint amber flicker always remained at the edge of every chart. No monument was built for the relic. None was needed. The ship itself was the monument. The universe continued its slow turning, and somewhere in the deep, an old patch of hull caught the light of a new sun. The arena had fallen silent 1,000 times over, but the lesson it learned only grew louder. That endurance is a language every species eventually speaks, and that some things survive simply because they refuse to be forgotten. The relic sailed into legend, undefeated.